Welcome into the Chiefs Report by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Harrison Graham. Let's get into some free agency rumors surrounding Kansas City. One Carlos Dunlap has been cut loose by the Seattle Seahawks. Now, there is some mutual interest for Seattle to bring back Dunlap, but he will hit NFL free agency, which means a team like the Chiefs could be ready to pounce. Now, Dunlap, it looked like he had kind of hit a wall in his career with Cincinnati, but now it's looking more and more like he just wanted out of that situation so he could get into a new situation because he had a resurgence with Seattle this past season. In just 8 games, he had 5 sacks, he had 14 quarterback hits. He flat out got after the quarterback in Seattle and really gave them a formidable defense the second half of the season, but their offense really fell off come playoff time. I definitely think Dunlap is worth a look for Kansas City and really any contending team. Veteran player, he's got almost 90 sacks in his career. I think a team like Kansas City makes sense if they can get him at the right price. And in this year's salary cap situation where it's not going to go up likely, it's probably going to go down a little bit, look for these tier 2 type of free agents to be willing to maybe sign cheaper one-year deals. I definitely think that could be a possibility, and Carlos Dunlap could fit into that mold. Should the Chiefs sign Carlos Dunlap? Type Y for yes, type N for no. Let's hear it from you guys in the comment section. If the price is right, I'm definitely down to explore this idea. He could be a little expensive. We'll just have to wait and see. Now, his career stats are very good. He's been one of the top pass rushers, really, of his generation. He's no J.J. Watt by any means, but 87.5 sacks is not anything to slouch about over a decade plus of work. I mean, if he has a high level of playing for the next 3 or 4 years, he could build himself a Hall of Fame case. He's been that good during his career, and with Kansas City, they've invested a lot in this defensive line with Chris Jones and Frank Clark, but that didn't translate into elite level in terms of sacks last year. Now, Jones was still a really good player last year, high pass rush grade from PFF, and had a lot of quarterback hits and pressures, but 7.5 sacks, you're expecting a little more. Frank Clark's definitely been more in the disappointing side of things, and these rotation guys they had didn't really do a lot. I'm excited about Michael Dana's potential. He actually played a lot better than I thought, but you could use a true number 2, number 3 type of pass rusher, and I think Carlos Dunlap could definitely play that role for Kansas City. He showed that he's got plenty left in the tank at just 31 years old in his limited action with Seattle. Again, 5 of his 6 sacks last year were the final 8 games of the season when Seattle traded for Carlos Dunlap. So what is the bigger need? Type P for pass rush, type S for secondary. Let's hear it from you guys in the comments section. Kansas City's got needs at both. Some free agent corners could use more pass rush, but get your votes in. Type P for pass rush or S for secondary. Now, today's show, we've got some St. Patrick's gear available for you guys at chatsports.com/ChiefsGreen. Get in on these deals before St. Patty's comes and goes because we're about 8 or 9 days away. We'll put that link in the comments. We'll put it in the description. We got long sleeve, short sleeve. We have ladies' tees as well. chatsports.com/ChiefsGreen. All kinds of gear this holiday season for St. Patrick's Day. Rep green, don't get pinched on March 17th because you just don't want to be that guy or gal. Chatsports.com/ChiefsGreen. Kansas City Chiefs free agency rumors with Patrick Peterson. This will be an interesting one. CBS named Kansas City as a contender for Peterson. Now, they did list a bunch of teams. They had a couple of different categories, but I found it interesting that Kansas City was in the contender category because Patrick Peterson is a big-name cornerback, and with Kansas City having a not great cap situation, you would think, they're probably out of his price range. Now, that could end up being the case, but will a guy like Patrick Peterson take a one-year cheaper deal, ball out with the Chiefs, and then hit the market again next year? I wouldn't bank on it, but I wouldn't rule it out either. I think you could see guys of his ilk consider a team like Kansas City, consider these Super Bowl contending type of teams for 1 year while the salary cap is in a weird situation, and then it'll probably bloom in 2022, and guys like Patrick Peterson could get the bag one more time, maybe, just maybe, Brett Veach and Andy Reid can get a couple of these guys to sign with Kansas City. Now, Patrick Peterson is no longer an all-pro, at least he wasn't this past year, but he's still, a low-end number one corner. He's a good player. He's better than a Bashaud Breeland who's hitting free agency. He had 3 picks and 8 pass breakups last year. I think he would certainly be an upgrade there, and for the right price, I'm very interested. And it's going to be very fascinating to watch Brett Veach and Andy Reid build this roster, because obviously their core is in place, especially on offense with Mahomes and Tyreek Hill and all these pieces. But in the secondary, Bashaud Breeland's a free agent. Charvarius Ward's a free agent. Dan Sorensen's a free agent. You've got all of these guys that they're not A-list talent guys, but they're B and C-list players, and those are the type of guys you need to fill out your roster. If a guy like Breeland walks and chases money, maybe, just maybe, you could convince a player like Patrick Peterson to get on board for 1 year. Remember when Darrelle Revis played with the Patriots on that 1 year deal? It would be very, very similar to that. As Revis won a Super Bowl, maybe Peterson could do the same. Now, there are some other big-name guys out there. Richard Sherman's a player I'm definitely interested in. I think he's going to have a market, but like Peterson, does he want to chase a ring? We'll see. Josh Norman played a little bit better last year for Buffalo. A lot of people thought he was done. He was okay. A.J. Boye, he was kind of bad last year for Denver. We'll see what his market looks like. Xavier Rhodes had a bit of a resurgence with the Indianapolis Colts. There are guys out there. None of these guys I just mentioned are in their primes, but Patrick Peterson at just 30 years old is still 85 to 90% of the peak Patrick Peterson that we've come to know in the NFL, and that is still a really, really good football player. So I'm fascinated by this. I'll be curious to see if the Chiefs are true contenders to land Patrick Peterson, but CBS seems to believe that they'll be in the mix for the former All-Pro. Now, if you want Patrick Peterson like I do, type me in the comments, spam it. You can type it more than once. Let us know how bad you want Patrick Peterson. If you want him real bad, type it more than once. Just type me in the comments. Get subscribed to the Kansas City Chiefs Report, because Patrick Peterson signs, we are going to make a video about it on this channel. We cover the latest news, rumors, and free agency is just over a week away. I cannot wait. And then it'll be draft season. It's going to be fun. YouTube.com/ChiefsTV, 100% free on this channel. Videos going up almost every single day. How about a current free agent within the team? That's one Dan Sorensen, Dirty Dan. Will the Chiefs bring him back? This will be interesting to watch, because he's become a fairly significant part of this defense, especially this past year, but dating back to the back end of 2019, we all know how critical he was in that playoff run without Juan Thornhill, great special teams player. Remember the Texans game just a couple of years ago on sniffing out that fake punt. You might look at a guy like Dirty Dan like, oh, he'll come back, right? Like, he's a team guy, a Chiefs type of player. He may want to chase the bag. This is a guy that hasn't made a ton of money in his NFL career. His last contract, 4 years, $16 million. It's not bad money, but you might find a team, if you're Dan Sorensen, that'll give you $5 or $6 million on a 1 or a 2 year deal on an annual basis. I'd love to bring back Dirty Dan, but I'm also team free Juan Thornhill. We saw toward the end of the season last year that Juan Thornhill, once he was fully healthy, he looked like that guy we saw his rookie season. And if you bring back Sorensen, that's fine, but I don't want that to limit how much we play Juan Thornhill, how much the Chiefs play Juan Thornhill, because this is a guy you've invested in, second-round pick. He's got a higher ceiling. He's got more potential, and you need to find out if, hey, is this going to be a guy we keep past his rookie contract? Thornhill's entering year 3 of his rookie deal. He's only going to have a 4-year deal because he was a second-round pick. So this is a critical year for him and the Chiefs in figuring out whether or not he's a critical part of the future. If Sorensen's back, again, I'm okay with that. He's a great third safety, can play some linebacker as well, and we know about his special teams contributions, but it can't get in the way of Juan Thornhill's development. So Dirty Dan's one of these X factors to watch for Kansas City in free agency, again, especially due to the limited cap space the Chiefs will have. So should the Chiefs re-sign Dirty Dan? Type 1 for yes, type 2 for no. Again, I'm on board. If the price is right, just don't get in Juan Thornhill's way. Get your votes in, 1 for yes or 2 for no. All right, I want to hit on this real quick. Patrick Mahomes in a boot, which no surprise, right? He had toe surgery on February 12th. Some of Chiefs Kingdom was like, oh, he's in a boot because his wife, Brittany, soon-to-be wife, Brittany Matthews, posted a photo of them together, and it's like, oh, you see that big boot on his left foot? Duh, he had turf toe surgery. Like, this is not a big deal. He's going to be fine. The projected recovery time is about 3 months. He will be ready to rock at the latest by training camp, and if not, he should be ready very, very sooner than that, perhaps even some of the mini camps, if those still happen this offseason. I'm excited for Mahomes on this upcoming year. I think he's going to be on a mission, and I have no issues about his recovery when it comes to his toe. It's not like he's Lamar Jackson, needs to be able to run a 4.4 to be fully effective. Like, yeah, he needs mobility, but I think he's going to have that just fine at the end of the day. Only 25 years old. If he had this injury at 33, different story. But at 25, no issues whatsoever. Hey, if a major injury pops up with him, we'll cover it here on the Chiefs Report.